Okay, hello everybody. This is the Environmental Awareness call with Dean Kevin and Dean Val. And today, I thought we'd go over the last installment of geoengineeringwatch.org. It's a website you can go to. And Dane Wigington is the host who tells about all the weather warfare and the COVID and all the funny things going on in the world every week. He posts it on Saturday, and he does this once a week, as I say, and it lasts for about an hour, his broadcast. Someone's aware out there and doing something. He's collecting data and really informing a lot of people about what's going on, especially with the chemtrails. Okay, so that's another doom report. I tried to contact Dane, but I did once, but he replied, but he just said he's too busy to do anything like come on our show or talk to us even, but he's doing something a lot actually. And then he mentioned the planet, planet of the humans. Did we show that, Kevin? Do you remember? The one about the solar? Did we air that at all? The planet of the humans? Talks about solar energy and what kind of a farce it is, the whole thing. If not, we can play that maybe next week. Yeah, so this is just an example of like somebody's doing something out there, and we're trying to contact some of these people so we can work together, at least be aware of each other and gain support for each other, because there's not a lot of acceptance for this depending on the area. So do you have any comments on this Kevin?
Where to start, really? I mean, there was
covered, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I've heard about this cyber polygon simulation, and like you were saying, they tend to stage simulated events of that which they are actually going to pull off. And the examples that spring to mind are the 9/11. They had a simulated event prior to that taking place. They had a simulation, as he said, of the coronavirus before they unleashed it on the world. And now they've publicly announced they're doing a cyber polygon simulation in around about the end of July, as I understand it, and based on their previous simulations, it's very likely then that the actual blackouts that will be occurring and the power grid failures will very likely follow a couple of months on the back of that. So the prediction is early autumn, late autumn, early winter, you can expect to have global blackouts, which of course, if they're sustained for any period of time, will bring the economies of those countries to a standstill and probably wipe them out, because obviously everything is dependent on power. Take away the power and the country economy will obviously collapse. And as I understand it, the idea is then they're going to blame the cyber attacks on Iran, as I understand it, in order to justify a war with them, which in theory will be the last country, or at least one of the last countries in the Middle East, they need to invade and take possession of. And theoretically, that will be enough to annoy Russia to the extent that it's very likely that could bring us into nuclear conflict with them, because Iran is right on the Russian border, or close enough that they would consider it a declaration of war. And I think Putin has publicly stated such that if America go into Iran, basically we're talking about then the initiation of World War III. So that's again part of their idea. They want to kickstart possibly a war with Putin, and during these blackouts, of course, you're going to have all the internets and technology purged. When it all comes back online, I probably suspect all the YouTube channels that are actually putting out information that people need to know about, like our stuff and Dane Wigington and all the others, you'll probably find they'll be mysteriously absent, and we'll have a far more restricted internet in its place, a little like the one they have in China, where they have access to nothing other than what their governments allow them to see. So, and also it's been suggested during these blackouts, there'll be not only a purging of the internet and the technologies, and therefore a wiping out of all information that is actually of use and relevance to humanity and for people to become more aware through, but they will also round up and probably disappear a lot of what they consider to be the dissidents. So again, characters like Dane Wigington and others are on their list of individuals they consider to be those not in total agreement to their control. Yeah.
Sorry, this is Earth. Yeah, no, good report. That's good, Kevin. Thank you. Thank you very much. And you had something to share too that you found on YouTube or elsewhere?
The following information was sourced from a YouTube video, an archive of ancient tree genes by David Millarch. He would start by saying that what he was about to present is only important to those who want to drink clean water and breathe fresh air, and all the rest really don't need to pay attention. He would speak of how the world faces environmental challenges of enormous proportions. For the last 20 years, his group has been searching globally for the oldest living things on Earth, some many thousands of years old, older than Stonehenge, the Great Pyramids, and that have survived the entire industrial age. What he was referring to, of course, is the Earth's ancient trees. His group has been seeking out these trees for over 20 years, and has found about 100 species that they have worked on, some with a stacked carbon better than most species of trees on Earth. Their group is called Archangel Ancient Tree Archive, and their mission is to propagate, to grow, archive, to save, and help reforest the Earth with the clones of the largest, oldest living trees on Earth, of many species, for the most positive environmental benefits for Earth. A project that, as he says, has never been done before. An example of the type of tree they have found was a 3,000-year-old giant sequoia in California. That is the size of trees their group are looking for around the globe. To clone these old trees, firstly, they need to find them, which isn't always easy. Then, after they are found, they have individuals in their group, referred to as climbers, who ascend the trees and look for tissue and material from near the top of the trees and bring it back down. Most of these trees have never been cloned before, but with luck, the tissue will form a root. Then they have an exact genetic copy of the parent tree, as it is that tree. The group then builds archival living libraries around the world, where the world's first clones of these trees can be safeguarded and studied for future use. Also, some of the clones they are using, the group will use to interbreed with the fragmented forest that's left here on Earth, in the United States, 98% of old growth forest is gone. It's been cut down. Globally, 78% of our ancient forests, old growth forests, have been cut down. Initially, when loggers go in, they look for the largest, straightest, and oldest best tree, and they leave the crooked, inferior trees, or the junk, as they call them. When you do that to a forest a number of times, that cycle of 3 or 4 times that most of our forests that are remaining have suffered, you are left with the junk of the junk of the junk of the junk. Genetically, what sort of a base does that leave to rebuild forest systems with strong immune systems? Forests that can withstand fluctuating climate and the challenges we are facing today. There are enough ancient trees left, of old growth trees, that the group have been able to get a very good cross-genetic representation of the world's trees that are the most important, that stack the carbon the fastest, phytoremediate out of our soils and our airs the toxins and the poisons. The group are in a position with the technology they have that they can make millions and millions of these trees available to the world, so that the ecosystems that we have lost can be rebuilt. He would go on to speak of the monetary value of a tree, that it isn't just for lumber or for something that looks nice to feature in our yards. The group have gathered stats to show that one tree planted in over a 50-year period provides a value to your family community of $162,000, soil erosion at 31,000, oxygen at 31,000, air pollution control at 62,000, and water recycling at 37,000. They determined that instead of having to hire the machines and technology to do what that one tree does naturally in 50 years, you would have saved $162,000. Also, that each person in the US generates approximately 2 to 3 tons of carbon dioxide each year. In 1 year, a single mature tree can absorb 48 pounds of carbon dioxide, meanwhile putting out enough oxygen to support 2 people. So, with less trees, of course you have then a global oxygen deficit. 2 of the trees the group are working on in California are giant sequoias and coast redwoods. A mature coast redwood can weigh up to 1,000 tons. In a dry weight, that tree is 40% carbon. Size-wise, it's equivalent to 9 blue whales, the largest mammals on Earth. Giant sequoias are equivalent in volume and can do the same job, but stack carbon faster, absorb it out of the atmosphere, faster than almost any species of tree on Earth, and they can grow virtually anywhere around the planet. The group endeavours then to clone the world's largest and oldest trees, make millions and millions of these available to the world, and restore the global ecosystems with the necessary oxygen to support life, and that life can thrive. Deforesting the planet has cut down the natural filter system for toxins and poisons, and so it must be replaced. He would finish by saying this, an old Chinese proverb: when is the best time to plant a tree? Well, 30 years ago. When's the second best time to plant a tree? That's today. The group also have their own saying, that we're all working for our grandchildren, and we invite you all to do the same.
Cool, Kevin. Have you tried to contact these people at all?
Yeah, I did consider that because this video was made back in 2011, so it'd be interesting to see what's happened between then and now. And so if I can get hold of him, maybe get him on the show, he can possibly give us an update as to his group and their operation and, you know, and how it's getting along. So yes,
It's
I was
so
hoping
cool.
to contact him in the week and hopefully maybe I can get him on for the next show as a follow-up.
Great. Yeah, these people are doing it. There's a lot of people actually doing this kind of thing, reforestation, green belts, things like that. You don't hear about it. That's the thing. You don't hear about it, but there are people doing it. I met some people at a party yesterday here in Baja. They're teaching regenerative agriculture and how to, again, to includes permaculture and how to redo and renew the soil and bring back the ecosystems of the area that have been depleted here, especially here in Baja. There's a lot of desert and areas that could be greened up. So yeah, we're just encourage people to do something, you know, get out there and do something. I'm trying to get my own reforestation project going here in Baja with the community garden here next to the cafe in La Mission. I've maybe, I don't know, maybe it's probably an acre, maybe. Yeah, maybe an acre. It's in a hillside and I'm trying to do some work on it and see if I can get people involved. Just to start, just as a demonstration, make it a food forest idea. That's what we want to do down here in Baja, the food forests, rainforests. And I'm meeting people that know how to work with the native plants and the correct plants for the environment here. So just waiting on the funding. But in the meantime, we can do something, anything. And I know you're doing a lot, Kevin. Appreciate it. Thank you for sharing everything you do. You're always on. So thank you for what you do. So any last words of hope? Is there any hope, Kevin, or are we doomed here?
Well, it's all about agreement. So unfortunately, it's dependent on each individual to decide what they're going to, and then there will be the effects of that, or depending on the nature of their agreements, dictates where their positioning in life will be and what unfolds for them in regards to their experience. Do they want to stay in creation in a rapidly deteriorating world, or do perhaps they want to become more aware and make better agreements to improve the simulator? But obviously, of course, the idea is to recognise the is from the simulator, but it certainly makes more sense to try and make the simulator a better place by which we can do that without having to be concerned about not being able to breathe. You know, like Duane said, there's very little point in destroying the training school that you're in. And so that's the idea of what we're doing. It's not like we're trying to make the world, well, it's not like we're trying to recreate a lovely paradise in the simulation. Obviously, it would be beneficial if that was the case, but as I said, you don't want to be destroying the simulation you're in. So, yeah. And then from that, then is the bigger picture, which is recognizing the is, which is what all our projects and activities are hinting and pointing and referencing. The all natural environment is, of course, the is expressed throughout creation and all the life levels of it.
Yeah, so folks, go to New Kevin Smith's YouTube channel for lots of information. You can find this while it's still on. And DuaneTheGreatWriter.net. Look that up too. And reach out to us on Facebook, both Kevin and I, Kevin Smith, Val Vitols, and we'll get back to you. We end the programs with the NUUU, which is a way to connect to this reality that Kevin mentioned, this isness that just is. And this is how it goes. It's NUUU. And Kevin.
NUUU.
Thank you, everybody. Thanks, Kevin.